On January 30th of this year, the Trump DOJ's Antitrust Division sued to block the merger of two tech companies. Then, well-connected lobbyists met with your political deputies who overruled the career staff and approved the merger. So there's a settlement on that.
Senator Mazie Hirono just went scorched earth on Attorney General Pam Bondi, and honestly, Bondi's responses were chef's kiss. A masterclass in deflection, whataboutism, and everything that's wrong with where we're at right now.
And separately, DOJ sued Ticketmaster last year for monopolizing concert tickets and forcing consumers to pay outrageous fees. Ticketmaster has hired the exact same lobbyists who met with senior DOJ political people regarding the merger of the two tech companies. So my question is, Ms. Bondi, have lobbyists met with your political deputies about the Ticketmaster case?
Senator Hirono, as I stated earlier, I am not going to discuss anything that is ongoing. Gail Slater runs the Antitrust office.
I would say
and Gail Slater, if I can finish, Gail Slater is doing an incredible job running my antitrust unit.
It's highly likely, Ms. Bondi, that the same lobbyists who met with your people basically got rid of the antitrust case.
Senator, I don't think a lot of people like that you were out protesting with Antifa
right now. Next question. You have fired dozens of career prosecutors because they worked on cases involving President Trump or January 6 rioters. For example, one career federal prosecutor who secured over 100 convictions in Florida. He also spent time in D.C. prosecuting January 6 cases. He received an outstanding review only 2 days before you signed a memo firing him. The memo cited no reason for his firing. Are you firing career prosecutors solely because they worked on cases like January 6th that the president doesn't like?
Senator Hirono, I am not going to talk about personnel matters with you.
Well, we all know that hundreds of career prosecutors have left the DOJ, and literally hundreds, we're told.
Senator, are you familiar with the one that threw a sandwich at an ICE officer? Are you a Homeland Security officer?
Here is the
Are you familiar with the one who went out on her lunch break and was making obscene gestures?
Would you say that DOJ losing these career prosecutors and the thousands of hours of experience they have prosecuting criminals, that is not a reassuring situation?
Senator, many employees took the fork in the road and resigned. DOJ is hiring committed prosecutors who will actually come into the office and work and not work remotely and prosecute violent criminals around the country and terrorists. And I'm very proud of the work all of our prosecutors.
I'm running out of time, so I think you should stop with your continuous interruptions, in my opinion. Mr. Chairman, I just want to close by saying that what was once the Department of Justice has become the Department of Revenge and Corruption. Rather than pursuing cases without fear or favor, this DOJ seeks to favor the president's friends and instill fear in his alleged enemies. If you're a friend of the president, this corrupt DOJ will bend over backwards to help you, just like it dropped the bribery investigation of Tom Homan, like it's considering paying money to January 6 rioters, and like it has put antitrust enforcement decisions in the hands of well-connected lobbyists. But if you're on the wrong side of this president, you will face the wrath of DOJ, no matter what the facts, law, or justice support. James Comey is indicted days after the president's social media directive. Experienced career prosecutors are fired just because they were assigned to work on January 6 cases. Blue states are sued to get highly sensitive private voter data, whereas red states are left alone. The double standard is clear, and the American people are waking up to the corruption and favoritism and the lawlessness at the DOJ. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
May I respond, Chairman?
Yes.
May I respond?
Yes, you may respond. Then Senator Kennedy.
Thank you. The double standard is crystal clear, Senator Hirono, crystal clear, because you didn't complain for 4 years when President Trump was being targeted by Jack Smith, by the last Justice Department. But the American people spoke loud and clear when they overwhelmingly elected him. The two-tier system of justice is over.
Senator Kennedy. Me? Yes.
From mysterious meetings with lobbyists to mass firings of career prosecutors, and what Senator Hirono straight up called the Department of Revenge and Corruption. And look, I know that sounds hyperbolic, but after watching this exchange, I'm not so sure she's wrong. So grab your coffee, strap in, and let's break down this absolute train wreck of an exchange, because it reveals so much about what's happening behind the scenes at the DOJ right now. Okay, so Hirono opens with a bomb. January 30th, the DOJ's Antitrust Division, you know, the people whose literal job is to prevent monopolies, sued to block a merger between two tech companies. Standard stuff, right? Career staff doing their jobs, protecting consumers, keeping markets competitive. But then, and this is where it gets spicy, well-connected lobbyists meet with Bondi's political deputies, and suddenly, boom, the career staff gets overruled and the merger gets approved. Now let me just pause here. Well-connected lobbyists is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence. We're talking about people with access, people with money, people who can get meetings that you and I could never dream of getting. And apparently they can just change the outcome of antitrust cases. Cool, cool, cool. Nothing to see here, folks. Democracy is totally fine. But wait, it gets worse. The same lobbyists, the same ONES, are now repping Ticketmaster in their monopoly case. You know, the case where Ticketmaster has been absolutely gouging consumers with fees that would make a loan shark blush. Yeah, those guys hired the exact same lobbyists who apparently have a direct line to overturning DOJ decisions. So Hirono asks the obvious question, have these lobbyists met with your people about the Ticketmaster case? And Bondi's response, I'm not going to discuss anything that is ongoing. That's not a denial. That's a I'm not going to confirm what you already know because it would look really, really bad. It's the political equivalent of taking the fifth. And look, I get it. There are legitimate reasons not to discuss ongoing cases publicly. But when you're being asked if LOBBYISDS are interfering with antitrust enforcement, maybe give us something reassuring. Instead, Bondi pivots to praising Gail Slater, the head of the antitrust unit, who's apparently doing an incredible job. Which, okay, but that doesn't answer the question about whether lobbyists are calling the shots, does it? And then, boy, then Bondi drops this absolute non sequitur. I don't think a lot of people like that you're out protesting with Antifa. We're talking about corporate lobbying influence and you're accusing a sitting U.S. senator of protesting with Antifa. First of all, citation needed. Second of all, even if that were true, which, spoiler alert, it's not, what does that have to do with whether Ticketmaster's lobbyists are getting special treatment at the DOJ? This is textbook whataboutism. When you can't defend your position, attack your opponent's character with completely unrelated accusations. It's what people do when they don't have actual answers. And honestly, it's beneath the office of Attorney General. But then Hirono moves to what I think is the even more disturbing part of this whole thing, the mass firings of career prosecutors. She brings up this one prosecutor, over 100 convictions in Florida, stellar record, just received an outstanding performance review 2 days before Bondi signed the memo firing him. The memo, it cited no reason for the firing. The only thing this prosecutor did wrong, apparently, was work on January 6th cases during his time in D.C. Let that sink in. You can be a career federal prosecutor with a perfect record, and you can get fired without explanation because you prosecuted people who attacked the Capitol. Not for doing a bad job, not for misconduct, just for doing your job on the wrong cases. Hirono asks directly, are you firing career prosecutors solely because they worked on January 6th cases? And Bondi, I am not going to talk about personnel matters with you. Again, not a denial, just a refusal to engage. And then she tries to muddy the waters by bringing up allegedly one prosecutor who threw a sandwich at an ICE officer and another who made obscene gestures on her lunch break. Okay, so, two bad apples justify firing hundreds of career prosecutors. That's the argument we're going with. Because last I checked, if you're firing someone for cause, you cite the cause. You don't issue a memo with literally no explanation. Hirono makes this crucial point that seems to just bounce right off. The DOJ is losing hundreds of career prosecutors with thousands of hours of combined experience prosecuting criminals. This is institutional knowledge just walking out the door. These are people who know how to build cases, how the system works, who have dedicated their careers to public service. And Bondi's response is basically, good riddance. We're hearing prosecutors who will actually show up to the office and not work remotely. So it's about remote work now, not January 6th. Make it make sense. And by the way, lots of federal employees worked remotely during and after the pandemic. That was government policy. You're telling me that's grounds for mass terminations. Plus, she throws in this line about hearing prosecutors who will actually prosecute violent criminals around the country and terrorists. The implication being that the career prosecutors they fired weren't doing that, even though they literally were, which is why they had all those convictions and outstanding performance reviews. It's gaslighting. It's rewriting history in real time. Look, here's the bottom line. This exchange revealed some deeply troubling things about what's happening at the DOJ right now. We've got lobbyists apparently able to overturn antitrust decisions. We've got career prosecutors being purged for doing their jobs. We've got a two-tiered system where friends of the president get protection and perceived enemies get targeted. And when confronted with these concerns, the Attorney General can't or won't give straight answers. Just deflection, whataboutism, and personal attacks. Senator Hirono said the American people are waking up to the corruption. And honestly, after watching this exchange, I think she might be onto something. This isn't about left or right anymore. This is about whether we still have an independent justice system or whether the DOJ has become a political weapon. And based on what we just saw, I'm genuinely worried about which one it is. Pause. But hey, that's just my take. What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Hirono was out of line, or was she asking the questions that needed to be asked? Let me know. If you made it this far, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and ring the bell so you don't miss future videos where we break down the political chaos that is 2025. Until next time, stay informed, stay critical, and don't let anyone gaslight you into thinking corruption is normal. Peace.